Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of NinaRibena's Art Journal Prompts and More. It's week 3 of Art Journal Frenzy, and of course you have decided which colours I am going to be using this week. Now, from the many comments, I think there were well over 50 in the end, I've decided to go with Cheryl Johnson's choice, just because I thought it was the most quirky, unusual, and the one that filled me most with terror. So here's my colours. Brown, I hate brown, so we've got brown, we've got orange, turquoise, grey, green and pink. So I'm just going to put some out on some palette paper and decide what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to be working on a piece of mixed media paper, and here are the colours. Actually, they don't look too bad now that they're on there like that, and I think I am going to apply them using a credit card. I'm working on an A4 letter size piece of mixed media paper, and I'm just scraping a bit of each of the colours of the paint on with a credit card. I just feel that I'll get a better feel for the colours by adding the paint this way. I do end up with a horrible diarrhea coloured muddy mess on my palette, but because I'm applying in such a thin layer to the mixed media paper, it's fine, it's absolutely okay. It dries very, very quickly, but do be careful when you're using colours that are opposite each other on the colour wheel, because it would be very easy to end up with a horrible muddy mess on the page as well. Now you all know how I love a busy background, so I've decided to pull out a pile of stencils, and at this stage I've decided that I want to go with more of an autumnal theme. The colours just look very autumnal to me, and I'm just overlapping the layers, and I'm using each of the colours that I've got on my palette just to try and pull this page together, and I just absolutely love how it turns out. really like this. These are colours that I would never ever have picked in a million years, but I do actually like them, so well done, Cheryl. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut, because my art journal pages are 7 by 7.5 inches. I'm going to go from the left hand side, cut it to 7 by 7.5, and we'll see what we end up with. 7 by 7.5 inches, and actually I do really like that. And what I'm going to do now is I want to, in fact I just need to, this is what I've got left on my palette. I want to add some more of that turquoise, but I want to use some of these paint brush lids just to add a few little dots in the areas in the middle, and they're not full circles, and actually I quite like that. So we'll just go where we haven't got quite so much detail. Pulled out a few gel pens. These are mainly the ones that Rain sent me in Happy Mail a couple of years ago, and I just want to do some doodling. Now I find it easier when I'm doodling like this to keep turning my page. I just find that the doodles are more balanced. I get a better spread of colour by turning my page like this. I'm not going to be using any black or white on this background. I'm just going to stick with the colours that Cheryl suggested. And I think this pop of fluorescent green that I'm adding now just really lifts and brightens the whole page. It's just beautiful. This is how my background is looking at the moment, and I love it. I just think the colours are gorgeous. I would never have picked these colours together in a million years, but I just think it's beautiful. Love it. And I've left it sitting overnight as well, because I just couldn't decide what I wanted to do with it. But I've got an image in a book, Pippi Longstocking, and it's this tree, and I've photocopied it onto mixed media paper. And I want to use this. Now I want to paint it in some watercolours, but I'm not sure which colours to use. So what I'm going to do is put that to one side for a minute. And then I've got a scrap piece of mixed media paper. And I've added some water to some brown, some grey, pink as well, and orange. And I just want to see what the colours look like first before I do it to my tree. I've got a dirty paintbrush here, but that really doesn't matter. I'm going to add some brown first. Gosh, that's quite a strong brown. Okay, so that's our brown, and then I thought I'd add some grey as well to my tree. I just want to, you know, give it some depth and make it multi-tonal. And then I want to try some pink as well. I've sort of picked all the colours that are in my background. I really like that. I know that you wouldn't have pink in a tree, but it's whimsical, isn't it? So I can paint it any colour I like. And do I want a bit of orange in there as well? You see, this might be pushing it over the edge. We'll see. I want some more brown. I'm just playing with this just to, you know, see what kind of thing I want to do. I think I could do away with the orange. I don't like the orange, but I do like the pink, the grey and the brown. Let's go for it. Right, okay, bring back my tree. I'll fussy cut this out later, but I just want to paint Oh, do you know, I haven't sealed it, have I? In fact, I really like that because I printed this out on a laser printer. Of course, my colours have bled. I forgot to take that into account, but I actually quite like that. I was going to cover it in white gesso and I completely forgot. But I do really like that. And in fact, actually, I'm wondering whether I should paint it at all. Well, that was an oops, wasn't it? That's a bit like the effect that you get from one of those, what do you call them, pens? Hang on a second, let me just reach for one. One of these elegant writers. Wow, interesting. Right, so let me just give this a dry with my heat tool and then we'll fussy cut it out. Cut my tree out, and this is how we're looking. I just love that. And I've also got this image as well, which is from the Art by Marlene signature collection. It's from the die cut book. Of course, you get 2 sheets of each. I've also cut out, fussy cut, some of these leaves as well, which I may or may not use. And of course, all of these come with a bit of a white border, and I've cut around that as well because I don't know, that just doesn't really appeal to me too much. Now, before I glue anything down, I just want to frame my page, and I think I'm going to go with grey. I've got this London Fog, which is a grey Memento ink, and let me just grab a makeup sponge, and I'm just going to ink around the edges just to frame my piece. I couldn't decide between London Fog or Frayed Burlap. I'm going to try it with the grey first and we'll see how that looks. I can always change my mind if I don't like it. So I've inked around the edge of my pieces now, and I'm pretty happy with that. And so I just want to fiddle around now and glue things down. And I think I want it something like this. So I'm just going to go off and glue it down. I'm going to be using some Aleene's tacky glue, which is quite strong, which I've just put into one of these small nozzle bottles. Everything's glued onto my page now. I've decided to add some of the leaves, but I've just used 3. And all I'm doing now is I'm just using a grey charcoal pencil. This is a Derwent tinted charcoal in natural grey, and I'm just going around a few of the areas just to add a bit of a highlight. And so here's my finished art journal page. I love this. I think the colours are beautiful, and I'm really glad that I chose Cheryl's colour palette. I've added a few more of the leaves just to balance my page a little bit better, and added a quote, "Do something different." This is from the Tim Holtz Chit Chat Words, and I just used the grey charcoal pencil just to tint those grey because of course I said no black or white. What else can I say? I just absolutely love the way that the mixed media paper reacted when I applied the water. I was not expecting that at all. That came as a complete surprise to me because I thought I'd added clear gesso, and you know, I just completely forgot to add it. I have only got an inkjet printer at home, and inkjet printer runs. So if ever you want to print on inkjet printer and colour over the top of it with water, you know, with liquids, if you apply some clear gesso first with a dry brush, that will seal it so that you can add liquid on top. But because I forgot, of course, all the ink ran, and I just can't believe the reaction that I got with the pink and the grey. It's just absolutely beautiful. So a real happy accident there. Now, what I want you to do this week, of course, I asked the question in the group on Sunday, following a couple of comments that I had from last week's journal page. A couple of you had suggested that we use colours that are completely outside our comfort zone. And so I put a post in the Facebook group asking for your suggestions. And 54 of you, as of today, it's Wednesday today, had given your suggestions and, you know, your suggested colour choices. I decided to go with Cheryl's choice, which was brown, orange, turquoise, grey, green and pink. But I'm going to pin this to the announcements, and for this week I want you to choose a colour scheme from this post here. As I say, 54 people commented, so you know, plenty of choice. What I want you to do though is choose something that you wouldn't otherwise go for. So you know, play fair, don't go for the easy option. Choose something that's slightly outside of your comfort zone, and then when you post your page in the Facebook Facebook group, I'd just like you to say whose colour choice you've decided to go for. So, you know, I think this is something that we can all have a bit of fun with. I will be keeping this list because I fully intend to use some of the other options on this list as well. I think this is, you know, just a great way of forcing us to try something different. So if you enjoyed my art journal page this week, as always, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. I love to hear your feedback, and of course it gives me a clue as to who's watching the videos as well. And you know, enjoy the challenge this week. Take care everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.